Hello and welcome to Name That Pleat, the trivia show where you get to guess what kind of look is going down the runway. Today we're going to look at a coat from Burberry's ready-to-wear collection from spring 2022. Now this baby is a gem. I actually think this piece is super cool. I love seeing when designers do something super cool with their pleats. As a pleater, I see so much pleats. I'm so tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. It makes me crazy. But when I see a designer who actually does something original, I love it. Let's take a closer look at this coat.
Long catwalk. Long catwalk. Long catwalk.
Can you guys spot what kind of pleating is in there? So let's look at the main body of this coat first. If we look at the pleat size at the bottom and we look at the pleat size on the top, we can see that it's getting smaller at the top. When we see that, we know that the general shape of this is a sunburst. Number one. Number two, if we look at the spacing between the pleats, we can see that they're pretty much equidistant. There's light and dark spots and they're pretty much the same spacing. If we look at the spacing between the pleats, we can see that the spacing between the creases is pretty much the same. And when that occurs, we know that the fold is an actual accordion pleat. So if we take clue 1 and clue 2, we know that we're looking at a sunburst accordion pleat. Let's take a look at the sleeve. If we look at the sleeve, we can see the same thing happening. It's a little bit bigger at the bottom than it is at the top. That tells us, again, it's a sunburst pleat. If you look at actually the print, you can see that the checks on the sleeve are a little bit at an angle, even on the body, and that also tells you that it's a circular panel. It's not straight. If it was straight, all of the lines and all the checks would be totally lined up. So that's another hint. Now the shoulder panel looks to me, it's a little bit tricky. I wish I could see it in real life. It looks like it's straight, but the print is going a little bit a weird shape. So it is either a little segment of a sunburst and it's so subtle that we can't tell, or it's actually straight accordion pleating. Like I said, most of the time designers don't really mix and match too many different kinds of pleats, but in this situation, it is possible that this is straight. A couple other things that I notice about this garment. Number one, if you look at the bottom of the coat, at the hem, you'll see that it's a pretty big fat hem. Now, that means that it was folded over. If it was folded over and there is no seam on the bottom, that means they took a tremendous amount of time to ease that hem and how it folds back up. If you are a seamstress and you've ever done that, you know that on a circle skirt, to fold that big of a fold, it's a lot of work, very time consuming. The cheat situation would have been for them to cut a separate panel as a facing and sew it together, but I'm looking at this picture and I don't really see a seam at the bottom, so it's entirely possible, and considering that it's Burberry, that they probably did it the hard way. Same thing going on the sleeves. The sleeves also have a very thick hem. And also, if you look at the shoulder piece, you can also tell that it was hemmed before the pleating process. Just to continue, we see that there's something red underneath this coat. Again, if you look at the pleating, can you guys guess what kind of pleating it is? All right, time's up. Let's take a look at the red piece. If you look at the bottom, you'll see that the pleats are big and it gets smaller at the top. And then again, the spacing between the actual pleats is the same. Side A is equal to side B. That means that it is a sunburst accordion pleat. But if you zoom in a little bit more, you can see that it looks like it has a little bit of a frayed raw edge towards the edge and at the hem. So this one tells me that maybe they actually frayed it and they sewed a facing inside of the hem. Super cool. I love this piece. I think it's beautiful. It's very, very dramatic. That's it for today's episode. Tune in again. My name is George Kalajian, and I'm the owner of Tom Sons International Pleating, contractor in New York City. See you next episode.